Hi, and welcome to the next episode of Belly to Belly. And we're here with great friend Cindy Zhu from AirOps. AirOps. How are you, Cindy?
I'm good. How are you, Bill?
I'm fantastic. Thank you. So we're both going to be together in a couple of weeks at the Partnership Leaders Catalyst event in New York, which is happening the 25th and 26th of August. And you're going to be speaking on a topic which I think is really interesting. It's about building partnerships at AI speed. And obviously something, a technology that not just partnership organizations, but companies worldwide are adapting to and figuring out how to leverage. And I think that the partnership space is no different. And before we hop into kind of talking through that topic a little bit, do you mind sharing a little bit about what AirOps does? And so our audience here has good context.
Sure. Thank you for having me. AirOps, I run partnerships at AirOps, and we help companies with their visibility in AI search. So the space currently is commonly known as AEO or GEO, or there's lots of different acronyms that have popped up around here, but how is your brand and your company discoverable within the LLMs and the search engines? So within ChatGPT, within Claude, Perplexity, Gemini.
Yeah, obviously a huge issue and probably a just crazy growth right now for you all. So when you talk about partnerships and building partnerships at the speed of AI, can you kind of share a little bit more about kind of the core of that topic? What are you really aiming at?
Yeah, so I think the genesis of the topic came about because I've spoken at Catalyst. This will be my third time now. And each time that I've spoken there, I've been at a different company, the last three companies where I've built partnerships. And I just realized that this time was so different in that being at an AI native, like hyperscaler company and building a partnerships function and team and motion was just so different than any previous partnership role that I've had. So I think that was really where the topic came about. I started my career in investment banking at JP Morgan, and then I moved to a AI startup. It was a little early for its time, but I ran BD and partnerships there, where I dipped my toes in kind of this world. And then I joined a company called PitchBook, which sells private company data, private market data. And so I worked really in like that fintech space for quite some time. And then I joined a company called HighSpot, where I was tasked to build from scratch their partner revenue function. That ecosystem that I played in primarily there was the Salesforce ecosystem, as well as like more rev tech, MarTech partnerships. And it was a fantastic experience. It was great. HighSpot recently announced also a merger with Seismic, which is happening. So congratulations to all the folks there. From there, I moved on to a company called Tackle.io, which I think many partnership professionals are very familiar with. It's technology that helps companies go to market with the cloud hyperscalers. So I was VP of partnerships there for a brief stint where we worked with GCP, Google Cloud, AWS, and Azure were our three main partners. So there's the cloud marketplace ecosystem. And then from there, Tackle was acquired by a company called AppDirect recently. So also congratulations to all of the folks there. I joined AirOps, and AirOps was just in a very different place. There was not an established partnerships function. There weren't really any partners that they were working with or co-selling with. So I really inherited kind of this blank slate. Excuse me. And it was really exciting because it was a smaller company, but at an AI native company, I quickly learned that the speed at which the company was shipping, not just products, but go to market and just everything was 5 times faster than any company that I've ever been at. Like it was it's just moving way faster at a pace. And as such, like the partnerships that I had to stand up and build and bring to market were also lightning speed. So I just never been in an environment like that. And I thought that the folks attending Catalyst would like to hear from this experience, because there is such a proliferation of AI startups right now that are hiring that first or second partnerships person. And I think a lot of them don't quite know what the right type of person is. And I think there's a lot of people who want to be working at these companies. So I think there's just like, it's a good conversation to be had.
Interesting. So what I'm hearing as you were talking about the speed, I'm thinking it's sort of a perpetual sprint. You always feel like you're behind in some regard. So from a partnership standpoint, thinking about this speed and sort of the need, I would imagine, to build infrastructure and partner relationships quickly, how are you adapting to that, and what are some of the things that you've learned here, kind of in the early days, to what will work?
Mm-hmm. That's a really great question. I think first off, like when I say speed, like I feel like I was previously during like the SaaS era, I was so used to like, oh, like that'll ship in like a couple quarters. Like they would speak in quarters of when product would ship and what the roadmaps would be. And at this company, it's like, no, it's like weeks. Like we're able to get something out in days, even if we needed to. Right. So like, it was just like a completely different like reframe of time, I think, which is tough because with partnerships, like so much of it is relationship driven and trust driven. And yes, it does still take quarters to build trust. And it does still take quarters to find the right person and have them trust you and understand what you could do together. Like that timeline still happens. But on the tech partnership side, though, because there wasn't that like holdback on like the product side, I found that like being able to ship out like tech integrations was so much easier and so much faster. And like I actually was the bottleneck for once. So I think there was like that difference. I think also, with the speed kind of comes being able to do a lot of different experiments concurrently. And it's not just experiments of like the same partner types, but being able to like hedge different partner types and like being like, all right, let's try a partner type here. Let's do one here. Let's like start off all these conversations and relationships and be able to run these experiments, but also be able to kill them very, very quickly if there's a sense that they won't be working out. I think that was a really key skill and learning that I had to use during this, because you don't want to continue pursuing a partnership or like creating something that's not going to work out, that you just initially knew like early on that wasn't going to work out. It's a waste of resources and time for both parties.
Yeah. And does one of the things that strikes me is the speed of development and sort of new version launches and so on may also create an opportunity for communication and connection that the sort of old sort of quarterly release model didn't, right? You'd kind of go, there's no point in communicating until we have something interesting to communicate. And do you find, or do you think this sort of speed creates that kind of opportunity to have, sort of regular, whether it's weekly interaction or a couple times a month interaction, that, I think at least my experience with partnerships is, if you were going to put a formula to it, it's sort of trust is sort of relationship over time. It's sort of, and so does it sort of, the immediacy of releases create an accelerated timeline for producing relationships, because you'll have more interaction over a shorter period of time?
Yeah, I think you do have to. I mean, a lot of it's like now in Slack, like people are able to hop on at like a moment's notice, right? Like, or it's like via text message. It's much more like a faster sales cycle. The way I always thought of partnerships was it is a sales cycle. I have come from a sales background. right? So I've really carried that into how I run partnerships and how I pursue them. It's a sales cycle. And I think there's an initial dance where it's like, okay, does this work? Does this make sense? Okay, great. Like, I never want the ball to be in my court. That's like another thing that I live and die by. Like, I will always make sure that I can get back to them as fast as I can and just make sure that the ball's not sitting in our court. And I think just considering like how fast this company is moving and how fast the AI labs are moving and how rigorous and aggressive the speed is in this AI industry, you don't want to be the one where the ball's sitting in your court. Like you don't want to be the slow moving one. So I think that's like a big piece of it, because like you're representing your company to the outside world when you're interacting with all these potential partners. Like, what they know of your company is really just you, right? Me in this case. So I don't want to show them that we're dragging our feet or lagging in any way, which I think that's like a big piece of like the fast movement too, and just like the communication style that has to happen.
That makes so much sense. And so what's the profile of kind of an ideal partner for you as you're developing your ecosystem?
Yeah, so I think ICP is very important. Like, are we going after the same type of end customer? We want to make sure that we're both adding value, incremental value to that joint customer. I think obviously we don't want like competing solutions. We want to be able to enhance each other's solutions and tell a really good, better together story. And then I think truly, like, are they moving at the same pace that we're moving? I've found in my previous roles too that like not having a similar sales cycle or just like culture, like company culture and sales culture is a big hindrance to a successful partnership. Because at the end of the day, like, you want your sales teams to be able to work together and like hop on the phone and collaborate and co-sell and do all that good stuff. But if the cultures are like so different and it's not the same, it's really hard to force that type of interaction between the two firms. And it's just like a hard one to have to kill, when the time comes. So I think that's super important. And then having somebody who's like your specific counterpart is very important. Like, there needs to be a dedicated partner person, not just someone who's like cosplaying as a partner person. Like, it needs to be like a dedicated partner person whose job is to manage the relationships with all these partners, because it shows that the company is committing to these partnerships and the relationships. So I think those are kind of the qualification things that I look for.
That makes total sense. And I would imagine tempo, from what you just said, is probably even more important in this accelerated environment. If we were on a quarterly pace, plus or minus a week, you're probably not terrible. But in your current environment, it sounds like a week, and you're a version behind.
Yes. Literally, yes. Things can ship in within a week. So
right.
it's like a next level type of speed. And if the partner can't keep up, then it's just probably not going to work.
That makes total sense. Well, Cindy, this has been great. I really appreciate it. And certainly we're encouraging people to not only come to Catalyst, but to come to Cindy's talk. And certainly I can't wait to meet you in person there.
Yeah, absolutely. It was super nice to meet you. Thank you, Bill.
My pleasure. So we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Cindy.
All right.